Road to Shredded, day 10. Right now we're maxing out on weighted dips with 30 pounds of chains. This is a great way of preserving the shoulders while at the same time teaching us how to strain. This will have tremendous carryover to all presses, overload the triceps, and change the strength curve so that we can continue to max out week after week. Next time, I might do this with a pause or reduce or add more chains. So here's 4.5 plates with 30 chain. That's 235 of the lockout, so 10 pounds above my best PR at this low body weight. So as you can see, there's still a lot of tension in the bottom. You're still maximally stretching the pecs, but there's proportionally a little bit more emphasis on the triceps. You are overloading the mid to top end range. So after this, we strip down the chains and the weight, hit 4 plates for 6 reps. The first set flew, and I'm doing this at a body weight of 163, so 1 pound less. Then the second was more difficult because the daisy chain was a bit uneven, so the plates were swinging a bit. That is my fault. Either way, we get the work in and there's no excuses. But I will say that when you have chains on, that's actually more stable than without, because that keeps you in a straight up and down motion. So for the second press, we do behind the neck seated, all the way down to my upper traps, just like a high bar squat. This makes the exercise even harder, although it's already a little bit too much. Here I get 4 repetitions, that still counts for hypertrophy. But you are playing with fire here, especially since I had nothing left inside of me. That does generate a lot of fatigue, and the next set is going to have to be reduced in weight and intensity. So we strip it. In general, you really don't have to overload the behind neck press, and I prefer sideboard technique on this. So lowering the weight slowly, pausing on the traps, flaring the elbows out, keeping everything locked in. If your goal is hypertrophy, the way I'm showing you now is the best way. And it's how I mostly do my behind the necks, but I hadn't gone heavy in a while. I wanted to see if I was still able to preserve my strength. And to that I would say, yes, this is the strongest I've ever been on what I would describe as a death cut. I'm pretty close to being shredded. My physique is evolving week by week. You see it. And we're doing double max effort while on a plant-based diet. I think that says everything. So you can push a lot harder than you realize. So after we demolish the side delts, we hit a mechanical drop set from the front, AD press, we hit failure. Boom. That's it for the compounds. Now we're going to isolate the chest. No triceps for today. We're doing some dumbbell flies, Dr. Mike style. Lowering the weight slowly, pausing the length of position. The arms are completely out. You're going to see from another angle how low the elbows get. It's basically the way that Arnold used to do them. And it's not just that he had the best chest genetics of all time. It's also that he was doing a lengthened biased movement. And by the way, those who say, oh, but you can't squeeze your pecs to the top. This is why I have the chest crusher and the power twister. And it's important to note that the stretch is superior for hypertrophy. This is a free lengthened partial. So it looks like the golden era legends were not wrong. Man, my pecs were pumped and pulling in pain. Not to the point that they were going to tear, but it's an intense feeling. Comparable to deep weighted dips, deficit push-ups, or simply dumbbell pressing the 120s off a low incline. That is what this feels like, even though I'm only lifting like 45 pounds. So here you could see what I'm talking about. The elbows are way past the torso in the bottom, and the arms are out to the sides, not tucked in. If you retract your scapula and puff your chest out hard, as if you're stretching on a doorway, it's going to feel great. And then speaking of stretch, we do some old school pullovers for rib cage expansion. Yes, I do believe in this. So there's a lot of debate. Is this a lat exercise or a chest exercise? Well, it's probably a bit of both, or maybe costal pec if you base it off EMG. But I personally feel it in the thorax area, the chest, the serratus, as well as the long head of the triceps. And I love hitting pullovers after deep dips and deep dumbbell flies. In fact, this will feed into both of them in terms of building the necessary mobility. And you can even argue it will reduce sternum pain on dips. If you struggle to get deep, simply improve your pullover game, see what happens. This will also improve your shoulder health. In the bottom, it resembles the position of a weighted pull-up. So look, if you're confused about what this hits, then just do them on upper body workouts. Problem solved. This way you're hitting everything and it won't bleed into your other sessions. But if you look at old school workouts, pullovers were done after chest flies, typically as a finisher with light weights. This way you can get more out of less weight and ease into the bottom. It's more joint friendly. So in terms of form, make sure you're inhaling on the way down and also doing a mini vacuum, straight arms, control form, exactly like you're seeing here, across the bench for the best stretch. No, I don't find cables to be suitable. It might be good muscularly, but you don't get that same stretch in the thorax. And you'll see at the end when I do that side chest pose, it always looks better after a couple sets of pullovers. So that's it. You can see everything is firing up. There's even a vein on my lat. Honestly, I think this is the leanest I've ever been at this body weight. So I probably gained another 2 pounds of muscle during my bulk. Doesn't seem like much, but at this stage, I'll take it. So now we gotta preserve our strength and mass as much as possible. Here's the physique, pec lines are coming in, and there's that side chest post I was telling you about. Come on, you see the thickness. So this is what calisthenics and old school movements can do for you. Stay tuned for the next workout. And by the way, I did not skip legs. Make sure to check out the highlights on my Instagram page.